Okay, so welcome to Open Palms for the BO100 series. Now, I can't imagine that any of you will know what that is, so I bet I might need to just explain that briefly before we kick off with some action here. We have two players, Anachronistic and Ceneraii, both 1v1 and team game players who, rather than challenge one another to best of 5 or best of 10 or even best of 50, they thought they'd go the whole hog and go for best of 100, and for the past few days they've been wading through some of these games. Both these guys don't really get the coverage that they deserve from our existing casters, so I thought I'd step in and lend a hand and give these guys a little bit of coverage, which they fully deserve. So we've got two players here, Anachronistic and Ceneraii. Let's kick things off and see how things go. Characteristically, we have Ceneraii taking Cybran, his favourite faction. Very, very good at it. Tends to be quite aggressive, makes lots of units. Very spammy kind of player. Up the top, we've got Anachronistic. Quite a flexible player, actually. Likes to eco, but can also spam. Quite a smart player. Be very interesting to see which of these two gets the better of one another on what is an incredibly open map. We'd expect to see lots of raids, going for engineers, stopping expansions, bombers coming in, perhaps killing engineers. So we've already got a queue of factories here. I would expect the second one to be air, which it is, and then following on from that we've got a number of land factories. Up the top, similarly, we've got enough power to get things moving. We've got an adjacency bonus there from the mass extractor and power, just to make things a little cheaper. In fact, we've got double mechs adjacency there. Let's just see if Ceneraii has the same, which he does. And then both players are going for their hydro to get that bonus as well. So we've got two different types of bonus. We've got the reduced cost of power from putting factories next to your hydro. And then on this side we've got both sides. We've got the lesser cost of power from using the hydro, and you've got the lesser cost of mass per unit from building your factories around mass extractor. Something that only started working when FAF came around. It did show as being a feature on GPG, but it never actually worked. So that's one of the great things about FAF. They've actually took this on and they've fixed some problems. So we've got a couple of bombers coming out at the same time and a scout. So again, I would imagine these are going to go for engineers, try to stop expansion, try to stop build power, or the ability to reclaim. So it looks like Anachronistic is going for these engineers here, which he is. A little bit of a dodge there from Ceneraii to save the one engineer, but he can't save the second one, so that's two engineers bombed in succession, and I would imagine he will go around and try and take out some more. Ceneraii is having a little bit less luck by the looks of it, and indeed no engineers lost by Anachronistic, so Anachronistic reacting a little bit quicker and dealing with that bomber. In fact, the bomber from Anachronistic is still alive, albeit I don't anticipate he'll be alive for too much longer. Got a couple of mantis either side going around here, looking for those engineers, looking to stop that expansion that's going to head to the rear of the map there with those mass extractors there. Not so much in the way of raids at the moment from Anachronistic, more dealing with what Ceneraii is throwing at him. So a couple of mantis there. So there's a couple of... That's a reasonably successful raid. Took out a few engineers, slowed down the expansion process, but you've still got the engineer at the back there. So small amount of micro to deal with that from Anachronistic, but nothing too major. Another raiding party here, so it could be that that heads to the rear of the map, and again it's all about stopping that expansion, stopping him taking all the mass extractors available to him, whilst Ceneraii takes, relatively unchallenged at the bottom of the map, takes his mass extractors there. Lots of reclaim on this map, lots of different types of reclaim. You've got trees and you've got rocks, so you'd expect to see some patrol functions and some attack move functions, which indeed we've got there. That's attack move, which is normally the most efficient method of reclaim. Both comms looking to push one side, so you'd expect to see the comm push on the one side and then perhaps the spam move over to the other side just to hold the control. So as we can see, Anachronistic's looking to move into this area and then build a PD to control that area. 8 land factories planned there, so I'd expect to see lots of Mantis and some Medusa, which we've got here, built into the equation with that stun facility. The raid that we talked about earlier has been successful, so not only has he killed the engineer, he's going to stop the factory and kill the engineers, so that will cost time for Anachronistic and more micro to deal with it. He now needs to get some units down there to kill those units or bombers, and he needs to get more engineers down there to take those mass points. It hasn't had a massive impact in the way of economy at the moment, both very much level pegging there. Anachronistic pushing on this side, looking to kill some mass extractors. Very much even Stevens at the moment, almost a mirror image of one another, albeit we've got 8 land factories and an air factory on Ceneraii's side, and quite a bit more here from Anachronistic, so it looks like Anachronistic's going to focus a little bit more on T1 perhaps, whereas perhaps we'll see one of these factories go in T2 and getting some rhinos out, which will deal with the Mantis very, very easily. Ceneraii very wisely using his comm, so he's saving his units for a rainy day and just kill him. Well, he didn't quite kill that mass extractor. 36 health left on that one, and some idle interceptors being taken down there. Bit of a push from Anachronistic. Don't think it's going to be that successful. Take out a few engineers. That will leave some reclaim behind for Ceneraii, which will be quite useful. Similar push on the left hand side from Ceneraii, but he's realised he hasn't got anywhere near enough, so he's retreating, and Anachronistic's managed to lay down a PD which will stop Mantis from getting past that particular point. So Ceneraii will have to make some Medusa if he wants to take out that PD. Anachronistic successfully took this particular part of the map, and I would expect to see him start to push in and control more of the map. At the moment it seems like Anachronistic is getting on top, and indeed if we look at the economy, it looks like Anachronistic is getting the better of it. I would expect to see some mass extractors getting upgraded soon. Got a T2 factory over here, so we'll see a couple of engineers perhaps, and then some rhinos coming out, which will make very, very short work of those Mantis. Lots and lots of Mantis over this side of the map, over the right hand side of the map, which could start to pose a problem for Ceneraii. But interestingly, you can't overcommit units to the right hand side of the map because Anachronistic is looking to push on the left hand side of the map, so that's quite an interesting point, and he stops the expansion there. And as we said earlier, that part of the map there only just been taken as a result of that successful raid earlier on. Only small amounts, but it all adds up. Another PD going down for Ceneraii, just so he's looking to hold this part of the map, keep control, keep map control. That's what it's all about, map control. From the way things look at the moment, Anachronistic very much looking the more dominant, more units on the field. A couple of mass extractors going up to T2. Ceneraii already has one, which is good news. What's this we got over here? So okay, we've got a Deceiver. Got a Rhino coming out. Rhino will be to deal with some of those Mantis. And it'd be interesting to see what else he builds there. Something to deal with these hordes of Mantis that Anachronistic's building, which, if mixed with some Rhinos, perhaps even some Vipers or some longer range units to take out the point defense. So we've got T2 point defense and T1 point defense there. That could really cause Ceneraii some problems on the right hand side. So Ceneraii is very much looking up against it here. That's very interesting. He's made fire beetles. Ceneraii is well known for this, making fire beetles which have an incredible amount of damage, and it's very efficient at killing comms. So even though it might appear that Anachronistic's in charge here, if he manages to land those fire beetles, then that could be the end of this game. Nice function of the game used there by Anachronistic, upgrading his comm using the build power from Mantis. It's a feature that especially newer players to the game don't realise they have. It's very useful. The build power isn't as good as an engineer, but it's certainly good from the point of view of getting upgrades done without having hordes of engineers. And as you can see there, there's a few Rhino. Hasn't quite microed them, but it has survived. So he's managed to take out 5 Mantis and get away. 3 Mantis with the other Rhino. Anachronistic looking to lay down some point defense, just control this area. If he gets that down, he's got the range of the point defense. DPS isn't that great with Cyber and T2, but he's got the range, and then he's got the units as well, so I would expect to see that win that battle. Looks like the Beetle Snipe's on the way. Ceneraii has air control, so I think Anachronistic could be in trouble here. Let's just see if he can get that Beetle Snipe down. If he does, I think we've got the end of the game. And he does, and he lands it. Beetle Snipe, lots of DPS. Nothing Anachronistic can do from that point of view. That's a really good game. Very close. Lots of units, lots of action. Congratulations to Ceneraii. It'll be interesting to see how the series progresses. I'm sure there'll be another cast along the way. If you want me to cast one of your games, please make sure it doesn't desync. Please make sure it's not too long, and I'll happily cast it for you. Many thanks, and goodbye.